Your life is not on the line. Mine is. And you think that I think this is funny?
I don't think it's...
Stop it. Y'all quit playing. Quit playing.
Robert.
I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
10 rappers, 10 life sentences. Stories that start with fame and end in a cell. Keep watching, because each fall is darker, louder, and more unbelievable than the one before. Number 10. Tay-K, 47.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, not guilty of the offense of capital murder. What did I... Excuse me. No. No. Out of the courtroom. Out of the courtroom now.
At just 16, Tamar Traven McIntyre, better known to the world as Tay-K, turned his wild teenage life into a viral rap anthem and then into a real-life tragedy.
Articles and I'm like, wait, did this nigga wrote about the murder? This is ridiculous. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Listen, I'm praying for everybody involved. Tay-K, you seem like a very talented artist, okay?
It began on July 26, 2016, in Mansfield, Texas. A quiet neighborhood became a crime scene when Tay-K joined a group of teens planning a home invasion. They came for money, but left behind a body.
We hit the light at McCullough, and Tamar took out his gun and pointed it at Mark and asked for his bag. Mark refused to give him the bag, so they all started hitting him.
That body was Ethan Walker, who was just 21. Now, he laid on the floor, shot dead. The robbery collapsed in seconds, and police sirens marked the start of a manhunt that would shake the rap world. Long before the gunfire, Tay-K had been chasing beats and small-time trouble. He started rapping in 2014 with the Daytona Boys, uploading songs that caught local buzz. But the spotlight brought no peace. By 16, he was already tied to another deadly shooting in Denton. He escaped charges, but not the streets that kept calling him back. His fame was rising, but so was the danger lurking behind it. Placed under house arrest, Tay-K made a choice that stunned everyone. He cut off his ankle monitor and disappeared.
Interrogation seen on video that McIntyre cut off his GPS monitoring bracelet and went on the run.
While on the run, he recorded The Race, a song that mocked the very system chasing him. In the video, he flashed smiles and gang signs, rapping about his escape while police searched nationwide. The song exploded online, the same day he was caught in Elizabeth, New Jersey on June 30th, 2017. Honestly, the irony doesn't get louder than that. Then came another twist. Police linked him to a second murder, the May 2017 killing of photographer Mark Anthony Saldivar in San Antonio. Witnesses heard gunshots, saw a car speed off, and surveillance confirmed Tay-K inside.
He hopped on the vehicle, the hood, and onto the windshield. The windshield broke, kinda, or like got smashed because he was jumping on it. And instead of like shaking him off the car by driving fast, or at least getting out and pushing him off or some shit, they just leaned out the car and clapped that nigga. They shot him a couple times and that was it. They just drove off casually. They did not even get the goddamn food. This shit ridiculous to me. Now, here's the thing, because this ain't no laughing matter, alright? Listen, I told y'all, man, Tay-K is an interesting case because Tay-K is a Chirac Savage stuck in Texas.
His lyrics suddenly sounded less like art and more like confession. In 2019, he was sentenced to 55 years for the first murder. Then, in April 2025, another jury added 80 years for the second killing, both to run together. As the prosecutor quoted his own words, "Smith & Wesson made my 9 with some compassion." Tay-K smirked slightly, but when the judge's gavel came down, the smile faded. Today, Tay-K's voice still echoes through streaming platforms, his song The Race frozen in time, a rebel's anthem turned into courtroom evidence. But behind bars, the silence tells a different story. He outran the cops, but not the consequences. Number 9. Math Boy Fly.
What type of statement is that? Your life is not on the line. Mine is. And you think that I think this is funny?
I don't think it's funny whatsoever.
So I think, Your Honor, with all due respect, I think you should show some respect.
We're going to take a 5-minute break.
On November 21st, 2021, Darrell Edward Brooks Jr., known in the underground rap world as Math Boy Fly, turned a peaceful Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, into a national tragedy that would end his freedom forever. At around 4:39 p.m., the 39-year-old rapper drove his red 2010 Ford Escape SUV directly into the parade route. Witnesses said he was moving at nearly 40 miles per hour, weaving through the crowd and striking performers and children without slowing down. 6 people were killed, and more than 60 others were left injured as the joyful sound of marching bands turned into screams and sirens. The red SUV, later seen in countless videos online, became the symbol of a senseless act that stunned the country. Before the attack, Brooks had a small but active online presence under his rap name, Mathboy Fly. His YouTube videos showed him rapping about street life, police tension, and survival, often with a defiant tone. But behind the lyrics was a long trail of real trouble. He had been arrested numerous times, for strangulation in 2010 and for possessing a firearm as a felon in 2020. Shockingly, just days before the parade, he was released on a $1,000 bail after allegedly running over his ex-girlfriend with the same vehicle used in the massacre. That Sunday was meant to be a family event filled with music and lights. Instead, the moment Brooks's SUV broke through the barricades, everything changed. Spectators screamed as bodies fell, while officers shouted for medical help. Videos of the scene spread across social media within minutes, capturing the terror of what had just happened.
Whoa! Hands up! 26, 500 block of Elizabeth, 126.
Brooks was caught later that evening, barefoot and trying to hide near a neighborhood home. Prosecutors charged him with 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, along with dozens of other charges including reckless endangerment and bail jumping. In court, he refused to stay silent, shouting at the judge, interrupting witnesses, and claiming he didn't recognize the court's authority. His behavior often forced the judge to remove him from the courtroom. In November 2022, the verdict was delivered, guilty on all counts. Brooks, once known online as Mathboy Fly, was sentenced to 6 consecutive life terms, plus hundreds of additional years, ensuring he will never walk free again. Number 8. Max B.
Rough situation. This is real life TV, real shit. Great.
Wouldn't change it for the world, right?
I wouldn't change shit. This shit about to be like Snoop Dogg and Johnny Conquer.
It began as a plan for quick money and ended in tragedy. What was supposed to be a smooth move turned into one of hip-hop's most haunting downfalls. A story where charm, fame, and crime collided in one violent night. On September 22, 2006, in Fort Lee, New Jersey, Charlie Wingate, known to the world as Max B, was 28 years old when a robbery plot went fatally wrong. The setup was meant to be simple: lure 2 men to a hotel room, steal their cash, and disappear. But before the night was over, David Taylor, 34, was shot dead inside a Holiday Inn. Before that night, Max B was riding a wave of fame, a Harlem rapper with a laid-back voice and catchy slang. He called himself the Silver Surfer. Around 2005, he rose under Jim Jones and the Dipset movement, co-writing the hit Baby Girl. But success came with conflict. By 2007, he was out on his own, chasing glory through mixtapes and street fame, living fast and talking louder than anyone else in the room. His confidence was magnetic and dangerous. Prosecutors said Max B planned the robbery and sent his ex-girlfriend Gina Conway and friend Kelvin Leardom to carry it out. Witnesses recalled frantic calls and secret text messages between the three. Conway later broke down, her trembling voice caught on a 911 recording that would later play in court. It was a haunting sound of regret that will help solve this case. The police arrested Max B in January 2007. He faced 9 counts, including felony murder, armed robbery, and kidnapping. Bail was denied. Prosecutors warned that his influence stretched too far beyond prison walls. In June 2009, the Bergen County Court found him guilty. As the words "guilty on all counts" filled the room, he sat still, eyes low. He was sentenced to 75 years, later reduced to 20 after he was able to appeal.
The conversation came up on how he went from 80 to 20 years, right? So, it's a sealed file to that.
His music still floats through speakers, but the man who created The Wave now rides it from behind bars. Number 7. R. Kelly.
Stop it. Y'all quit playing. Quit playing. I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
But we do begin tonight with singer R. Kelly, sentenced to 30 years behind bars after his conviction on racketeering and sex trafficking charges.
I never thought that I would be here to see him be held accountable for the atrocious things that he did to children.
Perhaps the most covered story in this video, so we have to give it to you in detail. He called himself the Pied Piper of R&B, but behind the fame was a dark secret that shocked the world. R. Kelly's story is not one of music and success. It is one of power, control, and crimes that finally caught up with him.
Rumors have swirled for decades. Now R. Kelly is formally facing sexual abuse charges.
Are you innocent?
In July 2019, 52-year-old Robert Sylvester Kelly was arrested in Chicago by FBI and Homeland Security agents. They surrounded his apartment in Trump Tower and took him into custody for federal charges of sex trafficking and child exploitation.
Sources tell us that the singer R. Kelly lives here at the Trump Tower and the residence is here. And Chicago police tell us they were here at 10 o'clock today acting on a tip that was originally called into the state's attorney's office from out of state.
For years, people had suspected him, but now the evidence was too strong to ignore. R. Kelly was one of the biggest names in R&B. His 1998 hit, I Believe I Can Fly, won 3 Grammys and became an anthem worldwide. Yet, behind his fame, disturbing stories followed him. In 2002, he was charged with 21 counts of child pornography after a video surfaced showing him with an underage girl.
She continued with the story of how she not only continued that relationship with R. Kelly, but also introduced him to one of her friends. Talked about the relationship they had and the control that he had over her. Again, feeding into the prosecution's theory that this is an individual who's not only taking advantage of young girls, but controlling them in every way, shape, or form.
He was acquitted in 2008, and many believed he had escaped justice for good. But in 2019, everything changed. The documentary Surviving R. Kelly brought his victims' voices to light. Women described being trapped, abused, and isolated for years under his control. Investigators later found videos, text messages, and flight records proving he transported minors across state lines for sex, a violation of the Mann Act. When the walls began to close in, R. Kelly turned to television cameras, not lawyers, to plead his case. Facing a storm of allegations involving underage girls and abuse, the R&B star sat for a string of interviews that felt less like defenses and more like public meltdowns. The most infamous came in 2019, when he sat across from Gayle King in a CBS interview that spiraled into chaos. Dressed in a sharp grey suit but visibly unraveling, Kelly shouted, "I'm fighting for my life," while pounding his chest and leaping from his chair. Tears streamed down his face as he denied everything, insisting that the accusations were lies meant to destroy him. It was supposed to be an image rescue, but it became a live broadcast of a man in emotional free fall. After his arrest, Kelly faced 13 federal charges, including racketeering and coercion. His request for bail was denied, as prosecutors called him a serious danger to the community. During his 2021 trial in Brooklyn, victims faced him in court. "He told us when to eat, when to sleep, when to talk," one survivor said in tears. Kelly sat quietly, staring ahead, as the courtroom fell into heavy silence. In June 2022, R. Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison, with another 20 years from Illinois charges, some to run at the same time. The once celebrated singer was now a symbol of abuse and betrayal. Number 6. YNW Melly. The case of YNW Melly played out like a scene straight out of his own song. Late one October night in 2018, 2 young men were found shot inside a Jeep in Miramar, Florida. Their friends rushed them to the hospital at high speed, saying it was a drive-by. But detectives soon realized something was wrong. The bullet holes told a different story, and the name that echoed through the investigation was the same one blasting from radios across America, YNW Melly. Born Jamel Morris Demons on May 1st, 1999, Melly was just 19 when fame came knocking. His haunting single Murder on My Mind had made him one of the most talked about young rappers in the country. But that same song, its lyrics about shooting a friend by mistake, would soon feel like a prophecy. In 2017, he had already faced gun charges after firing at a group near a school. The music and the madness were starting to blur. Was it art imitating life, or the other way around? On October 26, 2018, Melly was riding with 3 friends: Anthony YNW Sakcheza Williams, 21, Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas Jr., 19, and Cortland Henry, also known as YNW Bortland. Sometime during that ride, gunfire erupted inside the car. Investigators later said Melly fired the shots himself, killing Williams and Thomas instantly. Henry then drove nearly 60 miles per hour to the hospital, claiming they'd been caught in a drive-by. But police noticed the bullet patterns were all from inside the vehicle. Phone data, messages, and surveillance footage slowly pieced together the truth. They had staged the entire scene. By February 13, 2019, Melly turned himself in. He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder. Prosecutors labeled it one of Florida's most disturbing rap-related crimes and even sought the death penalty. Henry faced charges as an accomplice. Inside the courtroom, the tension was electric. Reporters filled every seat, and fans lined up outside just to glimpse the rapper in handcuffs. Melly often walked in smiling, sometimes whispering lyrics under his breath as the cameras rolled. Prosecutors painted him as a cold-blooded killer who celebrated his crime through music, while the defense countered that he was a victim of digital evidence twisted by fame. Each day, jurors watched gruesome photos of the car's interior, bullet paths, and text messages between Melly and Bortland discussing the shooting. A crime scene analyst pointed to blood splatter inside the Jeep, confirming shots were fired from the rear passenger seat, where Melly had sat. During one heated cross-examination, the prosecutor quoted Melly's lyric, "I didn't mean to shoot him, he just caught me by surprise." The courtroom fell silent. Melly's expression never changed. Calm, unreadable, almost detached. On another day, a juror fainted during the display of forensic images, forcing a brief recess. The judge repeatedly warned both sides to control the emotional theatrics as fans cheered outside.
Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams nearly 7 years ago. Both were members of the YNW collective alongside Demons. His first trial ended in a mistrial in 2023 and has since filed a motion.
The 2023 trial ended in a mistrial after the jury failed to reach a unanimous verdict. And as of 2025, the retrial is still pending. Melly remains locked up in Broward County Jail, facing either life in prison or execution if convicted. His story leaves one chilling question behind. When a rapper writes his pain into music, can it one day be used to prove his guilt? Number 5. Blueface. It started like any other Las Vegas night. Bright lights, loud music, and fast cars. But before the clock struck midnight, gunfire shattered the noise. The man once celebrated for his hit, Thotiana, now faced a far darker headline. This wasn't about fame anymore. It was about survival. In court, not in music. On October 8, 2022, Jonathan Jamal Porter, better known as Blueface, then 25 years old, was caught on camera outside the Euphoric Gentlemen's Club in Las Vegas. Witnesses say he pulled a handgun and fired at a pickup truck after a heated argument. The victim's vehicle sped off, leaving behind broken glass and the echo of gunshots in the night. The weapon was later found to be a 9mm pistol. What started as a joke between strangers ended as a police investigation. Blueface wasn't a newcomer to fame or trouble. Born in Los Angeles, he rose to stardom in 2018 with his offbeat rap style and hit single Thotiana, which hit the Billboard charts. But success came with chaos. In 2021, he was arrested for gun possession in California. By 2022, the rapper's name had become as common in police reports as it was in playlists. Fame had turned from blessing to burden. The Las Vegas incident unfolded in seconds. Surveillance video showed Blueface standing with a group outside the club. The victim allegedly made a joke about the rapper's music before driving off. In response, Blueface drew his gun and fired multiple rounds at the moving truck. No one was killed, but the evidence was undeniable. The footage went viral within hours. The rapper's flashy lifestyle and wild reputation made it front-page news. Police arrested him on November 15, 2022, charging him with attempted murder with a deadly weapon and discharging a firearm into an occupied vehicle. Bail was set at $50,000, which he quickly posted. Just weeks earlier, he'd been booked in California for assault, showing a pattern that prosecutors would later use against him in court. In court, the energy was electric and grim. Blueface sat quietly beside his lawyer, wearing a prison jumpsuit.
6-7 is your true name, Jonathan Jamal Porter?
Yeah. When the prosecutor played the surveillance video, the courtroom fell silent. Mr. Porter, your fame doesn't make you untouchable, the judge said sternly. His fiancée, Christian Rock, wept as the verdict was read. In July 2024, the final blow came. Blueface was sentenced to 24 to 60 months in Nevada State Prison, up to 5 years behind bars. The judge called it a hard lesson in accountability. The man who once lived for the stage now lives by the rules of a cell block. Number 4. Ksoo.
For your arrest for murder today.
What?
Yes.
For what?
You want your lawyer, so I can't tell you no more, but you'll be in trouble.
What the hell?
To say. Okay. By unanimous verdict, and at this time, this court will then adjudicate you guilty of that offense and sentence you to the only...
They said fame would save him. But for Hakeem Robinson, better known as Ksoo, fame became the stage where real blood spilled. He didn't just rap about the streets, he lived them. And now, the same streets are testifying against him. It was March 28, 2019, in Jacksonville, Florida, when gunshots cracked the night near Moncrief Road. 23-year-old Adrian "Bibby" Gaynor was found lifeless outside an apartment complex, hit multiple times.
According to the police, McCormick was shot on January 15, 2020, at Dames Point Plaza.
Witnesses saw a dark Nissan speeding away. Police later linked that car to Ksoo. They found bullet casings from a 7.62mm rifle, the kind used for precision and power, not warning shots. Before that night, Ksoo was already a name whispered in both rap circles and police files. His songs carried an edge, raw, violent, and eerily specific. In 2020, his track Been Dead caused a storm online. Fans thought it was just Jacksonville drill culture. Detectives thought otherwise. Each lyric seemed to trace the steps of a real murder. And when another rapper, Charles "Lil Buck" McCormick, was shot dead in January 2020, the pattern grew impossible to ignore. Was Ksoo documenting the streets or confessing to them? The investigation turned digital. Detectives dug through his Instagram lives, where he flaunted weapons and taunted rivals. They matched vehicles seen in his music videos to crime footage. Even a mask with his DNA turned up near a getaway car. What once looked like rap performance now looked like evidence, art turning into ammunition. By August 2021, Ksoo's rise ended in handcuffs. Police charged him with 2 counts of first-degree murder. His own father, Abdul Robinson Sr., a man with deep gang ties, was charged as an accessory. It was betrayal in reverse, father and son, both facing life behind bars. In court, Ksoo sat stone-faced as prosecutors replayed his lyrics to a silent jury. Then came the breaking point. When a witness mentioned a snitch from his circle, Ksoo burst out shouting, "That's cap!" The judge ordered him quiet, but the outburst said more than words. In September 2025, Ksoo was slammed with a life sentence, bringing an end to his story. Number 3. Unfoonk. Unfoonk, whose real name is Quantavious Greer, once stood proudly beside his younger brother, Young Thug, as part of Atlanta's powerful YSL music family, but fame can turn fast. In May 2023, the same streets that made him famous would pull him back into the same trouble he had fought to escape. It was around 8:45 p.m. on May 4, 2023, when police pulled over a black Mercedes-Benz GLE on Cleveland Avenue. The driver was calm, polite, almost too composed. Officers said they smelled marijuana, so they searched the car. Inside the glove box, they found a Glock 19 pistol, loaded and ready. For any ordinary man, that would be bad news, but for a convicted felon on parole, it was catastrophic. Unfoonk had spent 11 years in prison after a 2010 manslaughter charge, finally released in 2021. His 2020 song My Struggle had told the world about the pain, the lessons, and the promise of a better life. Music had become his redemption, a second chance that millions believed in. So when fans saw him handcuffed again, many refused to believe it was real. Yet the dashcam footage didn't lie, and an Instagram live clip from a bystander showed him saying quietly, "You'll know who I am," as police closed in. He was charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and violation of probation. The irony was heavy. Just months earlier, he had taken a plea deal to walk free from the massive YSL RICO case, promising to stay clean. Prosecutors said he had betrayed the court's trust. His bail was denied. The courtroom was full the day he faced the judge, his diamond chain glinting under harsh lights. "Mr. Greer," the judge said firmly, "this court gave you a chance." Unfoonk said nothing. He only looked down, as if the words hit harder than the cuffs ever did. On June 5th, 2023, the verdict came. 9 years and 6 months in prison, with no time off and no leniency. His freedom was gone again, just like that. Atlanta's rap world went silent that night. One more star dimmed, one more story turned into a warning. Number 2. K. Shorty.
Hai detto che l'ho visto. Cosa? Un assassino. Dovresti.
MHM, ci sono.
Video dappertutto. Beh, non te l'ho detto. Qual è il tuo nome da rapper?
On the night of April 12th, 2025, a rapper known on the streets as K. Shorty, but real name Jonathan Reed, turned Springfield upside down with one violent act that almost ended in murder. At around 10:37 p.m., Jonathan Reed, age 27, was seen speeding down Maple Avenue in a black BMW X5, pushing close to 85 miles per hour. When he stopped in front of 103 Maple Street, he stepped out with a 9mm Glock 19 pistol and fired 6 bullets through the front door. The gunfire shattered the wood and struck Michael Franklin, who was standing inside his home. One bullet tore into his arm, leaving him bleeding and terrified. Reed wasn't just any man with a gun. Known as K. Shorty, he had built a small but dangerous name for himself in Springfield's East Side. In March 2023, police caught him with drugs meant for sale, and he walked free on $25,000 bail. By November 2024, he was back in court, pleading guilty to illegal gun possession and receiving 2 years probation. His nickname came from his size and speed. He was short, quick, and unpredictable, like a fuse that burned too fast. But what made him return to violence so soon? That night at 10:15 p.m., Reed left his home on Eldon Lane and met a friend called T-Max in a silver Mustang. A surveillance camera caught him entering his BMW at 10:25, and just 12 minutes later, chaos broke loose. The 911 recording still captures Franklin's trembling voice. "Someone just shot my door and I'm hit. I need help." Around the same moment, an Instagram live clip showed flashes of light and gunfire echoing through the night. Witness Karen Liu described the car speeding away, like a hawk vanishing into the dark. The BMW was found miles away, its engine still running, and police recovered a glove with Reed's DNA on it. 2 days later, on April 14th, Reed was arrested during a traffic stop in Ridgefield. He was charged with attempted murder, illegal discharge of a firearm, and possession of a gun as a convicted felon. His bail was set at $500,000, and his 2024 probation violation was added to his record as another strike. In court on May 20th, the judge looked directly at him and asked, "Mr. Reed, did you shoot at the door, or the man behind it?" Reed leaned back, smirking, and whispered something to his lawyer before shouting, "I don't regret nothing." The courtroom went silent as deputies led him away. If convicted on all counts, Reed faces up to 25 years in prison for attempted murder, plus 10 years for his gun crimes. The final verdict is still pending. For now, Springfield waits. Because if K. Shorty walks free again, who will stop the next shot in the dark? Number 1. Lil Tony.
Is there anybody else in the car besides y'all two? Hands up. What is wrong with y'all? Hands up. Oh, I'm sorry. What is wrong with y'all?
My baby got justice. He's not here. I'm going to forever be in pain. But to know that they're gone for life, definitely makes me happy.
It began with fame, fast cars, and street glory. But for Lil Tony, the dream didn't end in music videos. It ended in a courtroom, with chains around his wrists and a lifetime of regret in his eyes. On July 14th, 2022, just before midnight, the quiet streets of Birmingham, Alabama exploded with gunfire. Witnesses saw a black Dodge Charger racing through 4th Avenue North at almost 90 miles per hour, headlights cutting through the night like a warning. Inside was Antonio Williams, 27, better known as Lil Tony, a rapper whose lyrics about revenge and loyalty had now become real-life evidence. Williams wasn't new to danger. In 2020, he dropped a mixtape called Pressure Point, which gave him a quick rise in the local rap scene, but his fame was tied to a crew known as the Southside Runners, rumored to be linked to several violent disputes. By May 9th, 2022, he'd already been arrested for assault, a sign that the fame was cracking. He walked free that time, but his story was already turning dark. That night in July, things went too far. Security footage showed Williams in a heated argument with Darren Coleman, 24, outside a corner store. Words turned into shoves. Then came the flash of a 9mm Glock. 5 shots fired, 2 hitting Coleman in the chest. As people screamed, one bystander captured it all on a phone livestream, the footage that would later seal Williams' fate. Minutes later, the Charger was seen on highway cameras, racing toward Interstate 65. He was running, but there was nowhere left to go. 6 days later, on July 20th, US Marshals found him hiding in an apartment near Atlanta. He was charged with second-degree murder, illegal gun possession, and fleeing law enforcement. Bail was denied after prosecutors showed his past record. The courtroom was tense, every word heavy, every stare colder than steel. During his trial on January 9, 2023, when the guilty verdict was announced, Williams whispered, "They made me the villain." The judge looked straight at him and replied, "No, Mr. Williams, you chose to become one." Silence filled the room, the same silence that follows after a song stops playing. He was sentenced to 35 years in prison, with 20 years mandatory before parole. The rapper who once dreamed of charts and fame now faced decades behind bars.